Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Judy Mann. I am a professional network marketer and actor, and I'm also an EFT practitioner. And today I'm so thrilled because I'm joined by Rhonda Liebig. Yes. So Rhonda and I met quite recently, and I appeared on her show, Fresh Inspiration Show, which was absolutely fabulous. And at the time, she was standing up, and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to try that myself. So, Rhonda, huge welcome.
Julie, I am feeling fabulous being with you here in California, and you're all the way abroad, and it feels like we're so close. And I love your energy, your personality, and I really believe there's a purpose. I think we're going to get some good, juicy stuff out of this today.
I do too. And you know what I really love about Rhonda is the fact that she really walks her talk. And also, she's not afraid to be herself. I mean, who doesn't want to be themselves ultimately? And also, you know, if you get to hang out with Rhonda for very long, you will discover that she's all about play and having fun. So absolutely delighted to have you on.
I can't stop laughing. This is so much fun. I do. I feel that, once you start, we're going to talk about using some tools, we're going to play. And I believe when we start scrubbing and cleaning, which is like the insides, that all of a sudden the outside sparkles. Like it just doesn't mean anything anymore of, I need to put this mask on for something. I need to put this mask on for another thing. It's, if you're grounded and you're feeling happy in who you personally are, then you got it. That's all you need.
Totally. It's absolutely an inside job, isn't it, Rhonda?
It deeply is. And I don't believe we do this alone. Now, I used to be this solo operator 12 years ago. And when you go that route, it's very lonely, and it is easier to live on the exterior, the task list to do, get this and that going, because that's easier because you don't have to, think about the heart, and maybe you might be lonely. Us entrepreneurs and ladies who love to have friends. I know even my husband, I'm like, he's all about having friends. But when we really go in and we think that we do things alone, it gets quite scary. So it's about inside out, tapping into the heart, really listening to yourself. Because when you get an opportunity to have a mirror and look at yourself, physically, or also, just being with yourself, it makes big changes. Then the frequency goes up. Julie, man, are the people that spend time with you, are you guys spiritual? I mean, like, is it okay if I talk about frequency?
Of course it is. And there'll be a mix of people, Rhonda. So just go for it.
Oh my goodness, this is so much fun. Well, the frequency goes up. That energy where you feel, I call it like a vitality rhythm. I do a little dance because I feel it. It's like, this is my flow. But when I'm with people, sometimes their flow is this, and I can feel it. And that's why I call myself an energy revitalizer. I can feel when you're in your personal energy. So if you get up in that frequency where you feel good, then somehow other spirits that are in that frequency, they come along and play. And the ones that maybe had their arms crossed or just were like, man, you are just too much, those people, they're on their journey, and you never know, they may meet up back with you. So it's never like cut somebody off and I'm not going to talk to you anymore and all that. Give the battles up and start playing. I believe that's it. Julie, can I talk a little bit about my thyroid story?
You absolutely can. And I just want to, I haven't properly introduced you because, you, as well as being an energy revitalizer, you're also a cash and vitality coach. I mean, who doesn't want that? And you're an author. So, I'd really love to hear your story, Rhonda. How did you get to be who you are today?
I'll actually, I know that we all have like various stories, but I'll give you the most recent because I'm like in deep about 3 years into this story of mine, and it's starting to really clear up. So let's get to it. 23 years ago, I would sit down, and it was the beginning of me falling asleep as soon as I would sit down. I was starting to lose hair. There were things like when I'd have conversation, I couldn't hear. My brain just couldn't comprehend. And I could work still because I was working then, but I couldn't really fully comprehend things. So I got on medicine and I thought it was fabulous. And it was for thyroid. Thyroid takes care of the entire body, your nails, your fingers, your heart, like everything. So I was happy to be on medicine. Wow, now I can sit down and I can, do all these things and I can hear conversation. I'm thinking quicker. So this is at 29. At 29, I was already having those symptoms. And I would say all the way back, I could see the stuff happening in sixth grade. Lots of things were passing out, all these different various things. Had to go in my emotional journey. So as I was on this medicine, I was kind of halfway in to my health journey, not fully, because the medicine just kind of takes care of you. But after a while, being on medicine that long, to get the medicine out of your body so you can take another medicine each day, your kidneys, your liver takes care of you. My lower back started hurting really bad. And I was like, man, there is no way that I'm going to stay with medicine. I can't see myself even living to be even 80 or 60 even. And I'm 52 this year. And I just can't do it. So I literally took my pills away. And then some of the stuff we're going to talk about today is what keeps me off of medicine. I don't do this alone, though. The tools I'm going to share with you are all the good base, but I finally got to my special skills and my special juice. And this is why I'm telling you the story about me, is that this is really about you. This is really about you. So this is what brought me here, is that story and being able to be off of medicine, but to be with you, Julie, I care about locking arms with all the people that we're going to be with. So I want this story to be yours. What's stopping you? What's bringing you here today?
Well, I'm just thinking about, some of the ways that I've stopped myself in the past, and that's what springs to mind right now. So,
Yeah.
I remember when I was pregnant with my daughter about 23 years ago, I started having this I was doing a voiceover for IKEA, and it was with a client I absolutely loved. We always had fun. I always enjoyed it. And I remember having this kind of experience where I had this sort of rush come over my body. Looking back on it, it must have been the hormones. At the time, I didn't realize that. And I was
Yeah.
rendered speechless, which, if you're a voiceover artist, not very useful. And it probably only lasted, a few moments, but it felt like it lasted forever. And in that moment, I thought, oh my God, I hope that doesn't happen again. And then it became a self-fulfilling prophecy because I kept thinking about it and bringing it about, because what you think about, you bring about.
Yeah.
And I labeled them panic attacks. So, it went on for a long time until I actually went to see someone. I went to see a hypnotherapist. And we looked at my, the programming that I got. So I guess when you were talking about your the programming you had around even taking medicine, that was just the way it was, and you were feeling better. But then you decided ultimately it wasn't working, and there was something else for you.
Yeah. I realized that I didn't really step in to taking care of myself the deepest way I could. A lot of it, Julie, still was about mindset. So I would say, 7 years or so, I was doing this, getting better in my head, thinking clearer about what I want and stuff like that. But when I really took away that medicine, I really had to sit with myself. I had to really sit and look at the food I was eating. And my expertise is about looking at the insides, looking at the organs. What food can we match and pair to be able to clear and open and unclog? I wasn't doing that for myself. I was doing it for my clients. And I just kind of be a byproduct. You're like, oh, okay, well, I'm eating good today, but I wasn't really listening. So listening to our bodies is it's a journey, but once you get in there, that's where you get to put that mirror up and say, oh my gosh, and you sometimes even cry, like, I've been hurting you. And I didn't even realize, like, this is our vehicle to get to where we're going to. I always think about, like, what's my passion? Or like, what's your passion? What is something you really, really want to do, but maybe you don't have the vitality to be able to do it. Maybe there's fears, but if you ate food that helped open up your kidneys, and it would open up your mind and release some fears, because kidneys show up in fear. And there's a lot of other things before you really know if it's your kidneys. But if you started pairing food with what really felt good, like your taste buds thought, oh, this food is good, it's not forced on you. You go out and you do body movement so that you get your flow going, but something that you love, not where you feel restricted and that I have to. And then find some motivation, things that get you out of the headspace of the fight or flight. And I call those three, the movement, the mindset, and the food, those are the three energy revitalize pillars. You put that together, it's a nice little bow. And then you open it up every day and you go, what am I going to do today? What excites me? And if you're tired that day, there are certain stretches you can do too. Instead of going out and doing a big workout, you stretch and you open things up so your metabolism, your body keeps moving. So I feel like these strategies give you the power to say, I got this. And I think that's what life really is, like the happiness factor, the abundance, knowing that you got this. You don't have to be afraid any more of your health, afraid of any food, afraid that you have to keep a workout because that's what makes you look skinny and perfect and things like that, or you're trying to work towards that. Work from the inside and your outside will show up. It'll show up exactly the way it should be.
I love that. And I know personally I've spent years being in my head, and it's always saying the same thing. It's not usually very helpful or insightful, and actually when I started trusting my body, listening to my intuition, when you get a gut feeling, whenever I followed that gut feeling, it always felt right. So yeah, I for years kind of cut my head off from my body. So I love what you're saying about, feelings in your body.
Yeah. Usually when I'm working with people or I'm going out and doing a talk, I really take that into account. Because like when you say to somebody, okay, find out when you first start feeling tired. You're kind of like on the exterior. Tell me, is it 10 a.m.? Is it 9? And they're like, I don't catch it until I'm totally exhausted. So that's usually, when people come find us, Julie, like when they're like, oh, I'm just tired of it. I'm gonna find some help and I'm gonna get some help. So I realized that. So if somebody is listening to us, that feels like you can't get past here, because my background, I used to do a lot of exterior and not really getting inside. I was very afraid to go inside. And so you may be one of those people that's watching this right now, and it's going to be okay. When you start doing your steps, it feels quite uncomfortable, and it should, because it's something new you're going to do. So give yourself time to breathe and feel your heart. That's usually the first step, or it's just breathing. And so there's those steps that help you get inside so you can start answering questions. So maybe what we're talking about may feel quite advanced, or like, how do I do it? Or no, this isn't for me, but it's interesting, is that there's ways to do that. And you can even do stuff where it takes 2 to 3 minutes a day to first get comfortable. And then sometimes I spend 3 hours on myself. If something really big is happening, and I can't get out of my headspace, I'll keep working it so that I can show up the way. So what you see here is from waking up in the morning, going for a walk, doing meditation, doing certain things. And sometimes I go even in deeper if I'm dealing with deeper stress. But this is what gets to show up when you start your 2 to 3 minutes. And then you just keep building and building. So I invite you in to do something like that for sure.
I love what you've said. And personally, and I don't know whether this is common when you work with people, Rhonda, but for me, things have to be really, really bad before I'll do anything about it. You know, I'm not somebody who's moved towards pleasure. I'm someone who's moved away from pain. So I can tolerate quite a lot. And that's partly to do with my upbringing, the kind of
Yeah.
conditioning that I had through no fault of my parents. But that's just the way I operate. And it's, you know, great if eventually I step out and I go, do you know what, enough already. I'm ready for some sort of change. But actually, you know, for some people and myself, certainly in the past, it can be a long process because, you know, it's all about being uncomfortable. And, you know, it's like, is it really that important? I've just got used to it, you know?
You just have to, and this is great because this is so authentic, Julie. Yes, 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 all of that. I know I moved with pain too, and but what I'm learning is I didn't have enough feeling or understanding what abundance meant. It just meant a word to me, and I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, okay, I can be happy. I know looking back at this and really going on the other side of like possibility, possibility. Oh my gosh, what can happen? And you start going like that positivity side and you get all excited. And then your path opens up and you start seeing it. And then you move away from the pain and that doesn't drive you. Either way is good, believe me. The thing that I realized is, as an example, I'd go on vacation and say it's like a 7-day vacation. After the 3rd day, I was ready to go home. I was like, "I had enough fun. Now it's time to go and work." And, life isn't that abundant. I wouldn't use that word, but not much fun because you can have so much fun, but then you have to go back to work. And when you go back to work, that's real life. So my abundance was open, like this much. And so vacations were really hard for me. And I'd be happy, for 24 hours or something, but then after that, I would just be on my head and I couldn't relax and I'd get aggravated and it just didn't work for me. So now when I'm on vacation, we'll do 2-week vacations sometimes. And I still have to go visit myself sometimes and say, hey, what's going on? And then it gets me right back there because what you learn is that it takes a process, like what Julie, you're saying, it does take a process. And you think of like the flow of nature. Nature's so beautiful, but it takes a while for a tree to grow, for things that are just like lusciously beautiful. Allow yourself to enjoy the journey, and enjoying the journey is playing. Because there's always a gap. You always can see where you want to go. But if you get stuck in the gap and you see all the stuff that's not working, then it's really difficult to play and it doesn't become a life plan. And that's why diets are so popular, is because they promise, within a month or something's going to change, and it will for you because diets are fabulous, but that mentality doesn't keep it going for a lifestyle. So the stuff that Julie, you do and I do, it's about allowing people, you, to be able to really understand how life can really be in abundance. So that's I guess one of my biggest nuggets out of life that I've been doing in the 20 years of being in the health industry is understanding that and letting things go, letting things be, allow myself to be.
I love that. And I guess that's why having a coach is such a smart idea because the coach has been there. So people can benefit from your hindsight. They don't have to go through a long, excruciating journey if they choose not to. Of course, yes, there will be work, it will take something, and it's never a
Yeah.
done deal. You know, life is challenging and stuff happens every day. But actually, you know, you have someone, if you're with a coach, that's gonna, you know, have your back and cheer you on and you know, have some fun with, you know, like you say, it's not so much fun doing it on your own.
When you said that, that was a good actually point there. You know what? Do you find this too, Julie? I know that when I work with people, they'll go one route and they don't see the results as fast as they think they should because they don't have anything or history or proven stuff to bounce it off of. They only know what they know and what they want to see. They want to see it now. So as a coach, you get to hold the space. You say, oh no, that's normal. You're doing great. And because you can hear them come in, first things are usually negative talk because they're stuck. And then it's also like, my waistline still isn't showing and I thought it would. And so you get to nurture that space and keep them on their path. Because if you're alone, then the next thing you're going to do is, and this is usually perfectionism at its perfect, is you'll go, nope, I did that good enough and I didn't get the results. And I'm going to go over here. And so it's like a yo-yo dieting or a yo-yo mindset where it's like, I only do this for so long. Oh, that's boring. And boring is that you're not in connection with it. It's so easy to get boring. If you're afraid of something, sometimes it shows up and you just go, man, I'm so bored. That's an interesting one. Why are you bored? And then if you have a coach, you get to really start hunkering in and understanding there's fear under there. So I really truly believe I have had coaches for years. I truly believe that is the only route to go when it comes to brain space, when it comes to nurturing the body, knowing that somebody who has seen people go through this journey, that you'll feel like you're being taken care of. Perfect.
I totally agree. And also you've got that accountability, which is so important because, yeah, we can't be relied upon to do things consistently unless we've got some sort of structure or someone kind of who we're accountable to. And the other thing is that, a coach can see your blind spot. Like you said, of course, if you knew how to do it, you'd have done it. So, it's having fresh eyes on it, isn't it?
Yeah. And each individual is, authentically different that we work with, and who is listening and watching today, we're authentically different. So to be able to compare yourself to somebody else, it doesn't make sense. It's like it feels like crazy odd. It's like, well, so and so didn't eat like I did when I grew up. So and so doesn't have this mindset. So and so, and so we can't compare ourselves to anybody. So for somebody to authentically pull and hold, and I think of it as like Play-Doh, like play with this, and you're going to get raw. You're going to be like, oh, I feel uncomfortable. It's okay. It's okay. I have this client that's been with me for 5.5 years. She's taught me so much. She came in, she only had, I would say she said this, but she said she had about 10 minutes of energy a day. So you could barely hear her vocals. She was not knowing what to do. She couldn't do anything for her family. She couldn't drive anymore. All these kinds of things were happening. Now, she just lost her husband this year. Over these years, she's gotten stronger. She's understood basically what happened when she was a child. You don't have to go back there, but those awarenesses will come up so that you can break generational stuff and go, okay. So you become more gentle on yourself because you realize there's things that you really may not be happy with about yourself, but you realize, okay, it's just part of, being on this earth and, the things I've learned and, or generational. And then what happened for my client, her name is Donna. She loves being out there sharing her story because she wants to help others. And so what happened for Donna when she lost John this year, it was their 40th wedding anniversary. He passed away from coronavirus. Now, for her to be okay right now, and she had John for 40 years, think about where you are right now and your biggest aches and pains. It could be body pain, because body pain usually is emotional pain. Our body will attack itself and these emotions will come up. Think about that. Donna is getting ready to actually support my health coaching um, place because she has been there. She's moving forward and she has her times, of course, because this is real life. But think about where you could go if you took your first step, because big things have happened and big things coming forward are going to happen. How would it feel to be able to know you got this and be able to understand that there's truth awaiting for you, but there's also the layer of light and abundance and lifting and being able to be connected. So food, movement, and mindset is just a natural process every day. So then it becomes lifestyle. I think
Love
that,
that.
yeah, I think that story is important right now to talk about because of all the hard things that are happening right now.
Yeah, really. And it's about how you relate to those circumstances, isn't it? And you know, if Donna's been working with you for over 5 years, clearly that's testament to the job that you do with her and the difference that you make. So yeah. I know that you live on a gorgeous ranch, don't you? You say ranch. Ranch.
I
You do, with your husband Jeff and your children. How important would you say, Rhonda, it is to be out in nature and have a balance and it not all be about your professional life? I know you were talking before about, you know, the fact that, you know, when you're on holiday, you were thinking, no, I need to get back to work. But, you know, now looking at your life now, how important is that? And how do you balance it?
Nature's interesting. For years, when I was an accountant doing CPA work in corporate, I would always look down. So I'd leave my house, open the door, close it, go to my car. Then when I was driving, I would look at the cars and, you know, defensive good driving. I didn't realize how much stress I was carrying just every day. You know, our body deals with different things. Sometimes our hormones are off. Being out here on 5 acres, coming out in the morning, and I think of everything as a threshold, open the door, fresh air, the sky, wow, beautiful clouds, or stars, the moon, or the sun, depending on the day. Start feeling the vapors come off you, usually in the spine or the head. And you start feeling like nature. Nature gives you the space to breathe. And this means you allow it to also. Because, you know, for years of being in, you know, an office and all that kind of stuff, I didn't think about it. But I know for sure I was spinning and I couldn't get out of it. And that's why I came back to the health industry. But I had no idea I needed nature. So every morning when I go outside and I walk on I call it the energy track, and I walk on that. And I have my doggie Oliver, a fresh, beautiful spirit. And I look at I look at everything. And I even smell and I touch my flowers. And for some reason, my flowers are even growing better. So I'm like talking to them. I'm like, I have to talk to my flowers more because I love the pinks and the yellows, and they seem to be hanging out more. So it's the flow with the nature and that giving back and forth. And if we think of everybody else as us humans, that's nature too. So it's the connection of the spirits, connection of being outside and really breathing and being able to see. That brings you present. That's healing space.
Yeah, and also it puts things in perspective, doesn't it? When you see the enormity of life outside of, you know, your little home or wherever it is that you live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It makes you, I shouldn't say it makes you, but it does help you become aware that you are this person. The stars are way, way up there. So the abundance of life. Also, that there are other people that are under the stars looking at it, or they're sleeping and they're protected, or there's people out there that are hurt, that are in pain, because we want to be in reality of stuff. And it's a decision there that you get to say, oh my gosh, it's not all about me. And all about me is really not, it's a sign that you are, you know, you're battling life and you're battling like it's all about me. And sometimes people will interpret it that you're self-centered, that you're this or that, because you can only focus on what you can handle. So we start to learn not to be so judgmental on people. We really get to see nature brings in a lot about spirit and about stop putting these titles on people and really see them so that you can be in joy with somebody that may feel disgruntled, but when you really get to see them, usually it helps that other person calm down too. And that's usually how a partnership can happen with, you know, the client back and forth or a long-term friendship. And that person gets to make that choice too. So now we're all locking arms and supporting one another, like Julie, you and me talking, everybody watching this video. If you make a positive move forward, you're locking arms with Julie and me. That's the only way I can see it. I do not do this alone.
Love it. And I would so love to be at your ranch right now. Oh my goodness. It must be absolutely breathtaking. So you've done so many things in your life and had quite a journey so far. And who knows what's next for you? I'm sure you've got some ideas. But what would you say, Rhonda, you're most proud of?
My relationships. Every day we get in connection with people. So when I look at the people in my life, I've battled with some of the people that are in my life right now, and it's so much love now. So my relationships, Jacob and Kirsten, 15 years old, 17 years old. And the relationship, like I'm here to guide them. I'm not here to point my finger and tell them what to do and all this kind of stuff. Because remember when we were teenagers, Julie, like, hey man, don't be treading on my stuff. I know what's going on.
Oh,
So my relationships.
So much fun in your house. When you're no longer on this planet, Rhonda, what would you like people to be saying about you?
That I was a good friend and that I could see and hear them. I know that when we have pain, and we all have had it, when you can make friends with that, you can start reflecting why you had these certain wonderful personalities, like it's your special sauce. My special sauce is being able to hear and see people. So I would love to be able to, like, we think about like our legacy. I would love to be known as the person that was there for them and that they took that on in their heart. And it helped with them knowing and looking at themselves and being able to be good in their super sauce and their specialty. So I want to keep affecting people when I leave on this earth too.
Beautiful. Before we go, is there anything else you'd really like to say?
Truly, that Julie, I love you. I love everybody that is watching this video. The only way that we truly can move forward from all this pain is to know what I love you really is. And it's hard to get there. And I thought I would never get there. I've been married for 22 years, and my husband was thinking I was crazy because I started crying and get more sensitive and all that stuff. But I want to tell you, you will get where you want to go. You will not fight anymore as long as you can say, I love you, and really hold your heart and feel that. So I do. I really love you. Thank you.
I absolutely love that. Rhonda Liebig, it's been a complete and utter pleasure. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Julie, thank you for asking me to come and play. I love it. I love that we're both standing.
I know. Love that we're learning every day. Thank you for that tip, Rhonda. Have a gorgeous day.
Thank you, my friend. You too.